expensive audiobooks.
Is that too? Yes, they are.
Like Audible.
If you want to listen
buy
to
them,
them
yes.
all, then yeah, 1.5 times speed. I will say I have watched episodes of TV shows at something like 1.3 times. And depending on the player you've got, it can do weird things with the audio to make it sound like normal.
Oh.
Just at a rapid pace.
That would be very weird.
It is, but
it sounds weird to me.
Again, it feels like a much snappier show when it goes to
all the quips. Straight to it.
All the action's just that much more brutal, although people walk kind of weirdly.
Yeah, they all walk like they just shat themselves, and that's why they're killing each other. To be fair, if I had to murder a lot of people, I'd probably have shot myself at some point during it, so that would make more sense.
Fair enough. Right, so going back to what we're actually... I hate to use the word planning to do for the show.
Ooh. See, we're not that kind of podcast. Just like to point that out, we're not that kind of podcast.
I know. Well, see, if this
any kind of podcast for a bit,
had been Lost Hemisphere, there would be a type to gender
don't even remind
that I'd have posted to you all beforehand.
I don't know if Chris has even listened to this anymore. Different Chris, obviously.
Yeah,
he probably doesn't anymore.
No, probably not.
Not that I want to slag him off anyway.
No, he's a great bloke.
Yeah.
Is there anything else anyone wants to talk about?
The usual, really. Just usual stuff.
So Benj wants to talk about how everything is awful and
I get my own slot for
the
that?
Usual, yes, I said that already. The usual, yes.
Didn't realise I got my own slot.
By the way, do you want to know something really funny? You guys might find this quite funny. I'm going to our event tomorrow, our first regional qualifier. And I may have put Grimkin down, but may have sneakily been making 2 convergence lists. So I'm now going to go on and change my army the night before and see if anyone notices. And see who it is that was really really on the ball watching the things. See if someone panics and has to go, oh no, convergence!
Oh, looks the same. What?
I will say, now having had my first experience playing against Grimkin,
yes, I've done that.
I kind of wanted to vomit all over the table.
Oh, they're great.
Oh, I was playing against, was it the Wanderer?
Yeah.
And yeah.
It's not fun.
Kurt, can you guess what spell he's got?
No.
Starcrossed.
Oh, yeah.
My favourite spell.
You love that. You love Starcross, I know you do.
Yeah.
The thing about Grimkin, though, and I'd say this to our locals, is people disliked playing them because it takes you back to the time when you started playing War Machine.
It does, exactly that.
100% though, because you just got smashed every game, because every game you go, aha, I know you're going to knock me down this time, so I'm now not knockdownable. And they'd be like, okay, I just debuff you and shoot you anyway. And you're like, oh, bollocks. And the next time you're like, okay, I can't be shot and I can't be knocked down. And they're like, okay, I sent a jack to kill you. And it's,
but they do it over and over.
It's just and every time someone goes, okay, I've stopped you getting Sacrifice Arcana, and you're like, brilliant, but you just walked into the other Arcana, so I'll use that instead.
Just the other 12,000 things I had prepared for you.
Exactly. So in like a year's time, it'll be fine. Like it'll just be another faction.
Except I haven't played since the last time I played Grimkin.
The worst thing is, people already know what more of the Grimkin stuff is than any of the Convergence stuff.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
And I played against Convergence, and I just loads of Silvermen. Good.
What's that thing again? What's
it called?
Does that have a gun?
How can you tell?
The floaty one.
I will honestly say, this is the thing. While they are aesthetically and artistically quite nice, they are some of the worst designed miniatures in terms of War Machine that I've ever seen.
Which is this, Convergence or Grimkin?
Convergence. Because Grimkin all have very... It's one thing that PP's designers used to go on about.
Oh, the silhouette.
Silhouettes, yeah.
Silhouette. Convergence's silhouettes are all the same.
Yeah.
Oh. I think it does seem to be deliberate, though, doesn't it? It doesn't seem to be an accident.
Yeah, they are a definite, they are Legion kind of feel to them.
I mean, Clockwork Legions, yeah.
I think the main problem with that though is it's to do with, because I've been putting them all together, and I think it's really to do with the way that it's balanced. So because previously all the infantry was just never seen, the infantry does have different silhouettes. You know, you've got the different medium bases, you've got the two types of small infantry, and then you have the jacks. But because no one was taking the infantry, it was literally just that jack, that jack, that jack, and that one, and they all look the same. I have no idea what's going on other than that penis keeps killing the models.
that thing, yes.
Just the text.
Oh, the battle engine is just
yeah,
God,
it's beautiful. Beautiful.
It was the first time I ran up against one of those. It was like, okay, I'm going to put this thing here and this thing here and this thing here. Right now, there's a spray that's coming out of here, and I get to do this twice, and it's going to deal 4 dice of damage. What?
All I'm saying is the first time I saw it, I held it, and it was long and it was hard, and then I picked up the tap.
Okay. Doesn't do any of that for me, I'm afraid.
Ben just go quiet.
Oh, Benji's probably off playing a video game somewhere. It's fine.
Yes, almost certainly.
Yeah.
And I'll stop making too much noise in a minute when we actually start doing recording.
Play They Are Billions. That is an amazing game.
What?
They Are Billions.
Okay.
Is that a mobile game?
No, it's a Steam game.
Oh, it sounds like a mobile game.
It's like an RTS tower survival thing. It's like playing Command and Conquer, where the entire map is covered in zombies and they all want to eat you, and you just have to survive for 100 days.
That sounds really fun. What's it called?
But they just keep coming at you in hordes.
What's it called?
If you play it, don't be a pussy. Play it on its original settings, which is challenging on everything.
What's it called?
They Are Billions. I see these people streaming it, and they're going, "Oh, I'm going to do it, day 112," and it's like, well, you're not going to do it, because if you're playing it on proper mode, you got to get to 100, because what they do is they cram the hordes into 100 days. Whereas when you play it easier, you get more days, but the hordes are spread along, so you get more time to survive. I'm on attempt 34 of completing it. Anyway, sorry.
20 quid. That's not bad.
Yeah. It's still in alpha though. They're going to bring out an entire single player for it. I'm just playing it for the survival mode. It's brilliant.
See, video game. I have this problem with Steam. In that, I open up Steam and I go, "What shall I play from my backlog of like 1,000 games?"
Yep.
And I start scrolling down. I get to Civ 5 and go, what can one more game hurt? And that's it.
And then the New Year's party arrives, and you go, "Oh shit."
Well, I'm currently at 1,767 hours on Civ 5.
I don't know what that is. I don't want to know. I don't think.
The worst one for me is Warhammer Total War.
Oh, Civilization 5. Sorry, I don't understand the shorthand.
I had time off when it came out. I played it, completed it with the dwarves. Because I think I completed it with the vampires. Since that point, I bought every expansion, but never played it, because I kind of really want, and including the second game, because I really want to play it with everything. But because they keep bringing stuff out, I can't bring myself to play it, put all that time in again, and then bring more stuff out, and then have to do it again. So literally, I have the entire collection unplayed. Brilliant.
Yeah, Steam is a problem. I have it.
Yep.
I don't. I have a plastic issue though, so I keep buying plastic instead.
But you say that like it's mutually exclusive.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no, I don't have the. I just don't play computer games. Don't play much of any of it anymore. Used to a lot, don't anymore.
See, I found I've played more games since I bought my Switch, because I can sit in the living room, not use the big screen TV, and just be there playing games.
Wait, is that the Nintendo thing?
Yeah.
As I say, I was going to go, what's the Switch? Like, I'll be the old person who doesn't know what any of these things are.
It was the Zelda thing, although I now believe there's lots of more stuff that's come up for it.
That I do love.
Zelda, there's Mario Odyssey, there's Mario Kart, there's
I don't have that personal space issue because I have a whole house. So I could do what I like, but yeah.
Yeah, for you, it's not as big of a thing, but for me, I don't want to be up in the room all the time. But when I'm in the living room, there's one screen for 4 of us.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the thing.
But I think I got to a certain point with computer games where I get more when I don't have that much time to sit and do stuff, or certainly doesn't feel like it, I'd rather sit here and scrape plastic for an evening and feel like I've got something for my time than play games. Although right now that seems rather appealing, so that might happen. I don't know. But I've got some Zelda that I haven't played, so that might be fun.
Yay, spread the addiction.
But I'm not buying a Switch.
Okay. Rich Dean wants me to talk about the new Nintendo thing, which is Nintendo Labo. I don't know if you've seen this.
No.
Okay. So Nintendo Labo, it's really hard to explain.
Oh, that's why he's asked you to talk about it.
Yeah. Do you know the how the setup of the Switch, where you've got kind of the main console and then the two detachable controllers cut?
Yes.
Okay.
Because it's got an evolution of the Wii U. Yes.
Yes. So what Labo does is it's a set of rigid cardboard constructible sheets that you can buy.
Okay, I'm already confused. Yeah.
That you can essentially assemble into a shape and put the various bits of the console in. So it will actually probably be. I don't know if you can YouTube while. Have you got enough bandwidth to YouTube while we broadcast?
Maybe let's try it.
Yeah.
Okay.
VPN's not on. That might help, right? Okay.
Is there a chat I should be seeing, by the way, or is that separate?
There is one on the right hand side. You'll probably get a ping from it as soon as I.
Oh, you want me to get a link?
I'm
not
I see
gonna.
now. Cool.
So what I've done there is just linked Kurt to
Labo.
the Nintendo Labo video, which is it's really hard to explain.
Oh, I can't find the stupid chat. I'm on a tablet. I've got it.
Do you want me to send it to Facebook?
Yes, please. That'd be amazing.
Okay.
I can now see the chat and I still can't see the thing. Never mind. Anyway, let's go back to the main chat. There we go. Right.
There we go. There's the thing.
Oh my God, it's like cardboard. What?
See, this is the thing. People are really confused.
What the?
So, for reference, what people are watching now are videos of people constructing a piano out of cardboard.
Hang on, those spoilers. Right.
What?
Okay.
First look at Nintendo Labo.
It's a really swish video. So I'm just going to kind of talk over the point where people are sitting there going, at this construction, this magnificent thing.
I need the drugs that these guys are on to come to this far.
Is this not amazing?
Okay. Oh, okay. What? What? Oh my God. Ah!
So by now, Kurt has seen the fact that someone can make a cardboard piano
And a house and a plane.
stick their Switch in it and play the piano.
Yes, I have.
It's by the fact that the
And go fishing.
Yeah, the infrared sensor on the red Joy-Con picks up the movement of the keys inside, and you can change it to different instruments. You can pitch shift it. One of the weird ones is you can get a piece of paper, draw a waveform on there, put it in a slot on the top of the piano, and it will pitch bend all the notes by the waveform you've given it.
My brain can't cope with that.
No, I'm there with you.
I just can't.
You
What?
sound confused by this.
It's not over yet.
No, there's always more.
So
To be
the
fair,
volume
it is
down.
like a 3-minute video. So
So I see. Okay, it's not making me want to spend that much money because I haven't got any. But
Why is it?
I've still got a Zelda that I've not even barely started. I think.
Why is it
My
got-
first question and only question comes in like, does it turn out that although that looks genius, that the Nintendo Labo needs to be
It's
made
still
from
rubbish.
a certain type of cardboard, which can only be made from, I don't know, like Venezuelan monkey goat skin or something?
Yeah, I was going to go baby something. So yeah.
It can only be made from cardboard prepared by Nintendo.
Yeah,
What?
which is laced with heroin, and that's how they get you in.
Probably.
Why has it got 24K downvotes though? Like,
I
mean, even if you hate Nintendo, that's pretty awesome.
I didn't watch to the end, so maybe there's something horrible at the end.
Okay.
There's a bit where he's literally got resistance
you in the
for
place.
punching.
Oh my god, everyone just talked at once then. What was that?
I'll let Chris go.
I was just saying, there's an actual backpack which is resistance for being a robot.
Yep. You can become a punching robot by wearing a cardboard backpack.
I mean,
Actually, another topic we could talk about Ready Player One.
Yeah,
I do not know I have not read the book.
I do now. I didn't, but I went, what's this film thing? Let's get the book. So I do now. I avoided it for a long time because it was all hyped and stuff, and I was a bit like, really?
I do own the audiobook. I've just not listened to it because at the moment
Well, the Will Wheaton one's so good.
that's the one I've got.
It's really good.
At the moment, I'm listening to Harry Potter. So
I don't intend to ever do that.
feels like the kind of film that you're going to watch and come away and go, wow, but then have to buy and then sit there and still frame it and take like 4 hours still framing, going, oh, look at that character.
I think there's that, but there's also, I think there's going to be that, but there's also going to be, it's been written in conjunction with the writer and they couldn't put everything in from the book that they wanted to, and they put different stuff in that was inspired at the time. So the book is going to complement the film and the film complement the book and not be one copy of the other, is what I've read. And Ready Player 2 comes out in March or April.
fair enough. Right. Shall we? And I know this is hard for everyone. Shall we make a start?
Whew.
And then we can waffle on endlessly afterwards.
Yay.
Yes.
Okay. Hello and welcome to Elite Cadre, the War Machine Hordes podcast. That's
Wait.
slogan.
Wait, what happens when Alex isn't here to interrupt?
Then you do it.
Oh, see, right.
I believe you're on shift for this one.
Oh, sorry. Okay, all
there's
right.
a chain of command.
Yeah.
Okay,
I wanna beat
sorry.
you when you step out of line.
Sorry, I just want to say I just shed a tear to be part of that interruption. It was beautiful.
It's something you've been listening to episode after episode, and now.
I'm here.
Okay.
I just want to thank my mum.
Probably start with I'm Mike, and now on to someone.
I'm Kurt.
No, Alex.
Alex isn't here.
I'm not Alex. I'm Chris.
There we go.
I'm Benj.
Calm
I
down.
think that's all.
That's it.
Okay.
We're done.
We're done.
And that was Elite Cadre. Thank you very much, guys.
I'm going back to bed.
Yes, Benji's slowly freezing to death, sat next to a candle that's guttering out in his half a fridge box.
Well, winter heating, it does cost an arm and a leg.
It does.
I get all the heat I need from my PC, and I wish I was joking.
I used to have one of those.
I used to be like that.
Yeah, I used to have one of those.
So, okay. Well, we've been on something of an extended hiatus for various reasons.
Christmas.
What?
Christmas ran for the whole of December. Apparently.
Christmas.
There's that. Christmas runs for the whole of December, and if you're in my family, it runs into January as well. So,
I just see that post, yes.
Yes. Christmas for me is on January the 7th. There we go.
I'll buy you a new calendar. It's fine.
I've got a perfectly good calendar already. It's just that one of them slipped a bit by, several days. So we're back, and we had a suggestion for a topic from Chris here because he wanted to have a little bit of word about the UK and Ireland Super Series.
Yeah. I thought I'd just come harass you. So,
Okay. So, Chris, UKIS, go.
Woo! So it's the War Machine and Hordes UK and Ireland Super Series. I just say that because I had to say it so many times now. The fact that I can say it makes me happy.
You can say it now without messing it up. Well done.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
So, if you've not heard of it already, then what this is the brainchild of myself and Richard Beach and a few others. And what we basically wanted to do is we got back from. By the way, just stop me if you want any questions and I waffle and stuff.
Oh, we will do. We will do. Don't worry.
Have you not listened to the podcast before? Interruption is what we do.
That is true. That is true. So basically, we went to WTC. And obviously Rich was on the England team. And one of the things we found was that, like, as part of and I was part of the committee, and one of the things we found that when we were doing the applications and we were looking at teams and we were looking at setting things up, that in England and Ireland and all this kind of stuff, well, less so Ireland, they're a bit more organised, but we found that there was lots of like metas, if you like. There's like the Northwest, there's a couple of groups which we've not managed to knit together. But then there seems to be these like pockets of War Machine players everywhere, but they're not really connected. The odd time that people will go across to go play somewhere else, but there wasn't this kind of, as a country, we've got other countries where literally they will travel 8 hours to go to each other's tournaments and stuff like that, and we won't go half an hour up the road, to play. So we thought
you are speaking to a group of people. I do travel 2 hours each time to go to Bristol. So.
Yeah, well, definitely. There are some, and that's not.
I have done it, and I'd go as far as say I have done it, just not for quite some time.
Yeah, the UK thing tends to be that like everyone does their local stuff, and then they do the national stuff. That seems to be the most people that you won't see, but you'll just see everyone come to like the nationals and Welsh and things like that. So the idea was that we thought that what we want to do is to get England and obviously Wales and Scotland and Ireland involved as well, to try and like knit everything together and help bring people together, which will also mean that people get better, and then hopefully we can go slap people around at WTC and bring home the gold. Was the basic premise, and then what that turned into was the UK and Ireland's War Machine Hordes UK and Ireland Super Series. So the basic premise. So this year, just to be aware, it is rough and ready. It was got a group of us together. So we've also got James White and Toby Nathan that are kind of heading us together, and you'll hear us on the podcast.
Yep.
As the hosts, and we kind of try and make the decisions as much as possible. And then we've also got representatives from around the different areas. And what we've done is broken up. Now, what you can do is if you go to wmhukiss.co.uk, that is our website. It's got everything on there. And you can actually see all the regions where it's broken down. There's the different people for the different regions who's representing them. And the basic premise is that you'd go to your local steamroller. That steamroller will have a qualifier. So, for example, there is a steamroller that I'm going to tomorrow where the top 2 people will qualify. And then there are 7 other steamrollers in the Northwest, which will also have 2 people qualify. Those 16 qualifiers will have a regional qualifier, and the top 4 of them will qualify into the national event. So there's a 32-man national event, which I believe is in August, September. It moved recently, so I'm not 100% sure on the date. But everything will lead up to this finals, which we now have. We believe it's going to be an Element Games. We're going to get it streamed. We're going to do commentary, get it, as many tables shown as possible, and try and get this event. And the idea here is that literally anyone in England can get to one of these events. We've got all England, all Wales, Scotland, Ireland covered. You should hopefully be able to get to an event and then get to the finals if you get them.
So I'm just taking a look at your at the list of qualifiers here. There's 42 qualifiers?
32 qualifiers in the end. Some of them, I was going to say, some of them are slightly different. It just depends on the area. So some areas have just got straight tournaments that lead to one space in the national final. So, for example, the Winter Cup, which was won by Ryan, that was just in the final. Others are ones which go to a regional final, and then people qualify from the regional final to the national final. So it's just understanding. It was just because we kind of jumped on some areas that already had events and Super Series sort of set up in their area.
So like Bristol with John's stuff in Bristol, I take it that's then feeding in from his little.
It is indeed. Yeah, and then some people are setting up brand new stuff to get it in. We've still got, there's a couple of things. It won't be perfect this year, but we're hoping that if this year goes well, next year people will be aware of it's coming. We'll be able to actually set up more specific stuff. And it will kind of help run itself a bit more.
So to be direct and personal about is there anything further southwest than Bristol, or is Bristol as far as it goes?
Let's have a look.
How's your geography?
Cornish
My
invasion.
geography is awful. Southwest, that's like Cornwall, isn't it?
Well, I'm not quite in Cornwall, but yes.
The ones
There
to the
is
southwest.
Cornish invasion.
Yeah, you got the Steamroller series at Big.
Yeah.
And then Cornish invasion.
Okay.
Um,
Who's running that? Somebody I don't know, probably.
I'm not sure. I believe Ryan's.
I will say, if you want to see a full calendar for this, it is at the, I think the URL you said earlier,
Yes.
wmhukiss.co.uk. There's links at the top that go to the qualifiers, the qualified players, and an FAQ.
Yes,
So
and there is a site on there. It's got about us. There's the regional coordinators. So if you don't know who your regional coordinator is, there is a link there. And for Southwest is Ryan Evans, current qualifier and last year's Nationals champ. So if you want to get in touch with him, he'll have more details because obviously things are still being worked out. And then there's for each area, there's a representative who's there to help get everything sorted.
A little bit faster. Excellent. Yeah.
I will say it's very nice to see something like this because I know there was back in the day when John and myself were running Steamroller Series, me running the Midlands and him running London. There were plans for something like this.
I was talk of it, wasn't there? There's lots of sort of, yeah.
I think they all kind of really fell through when the original Northwest Steamroller Series kind of ran for a year and then vanished. And then I had to move out the Midlands, and John stopped running steamrollers, and yeah. So it's good to see that something like this is kind of back on the table and really starting to take off again.
Yeah, what you needed was just that right level of idiocy and ignorance just to drive it on through. You see, so people were like, "We can't do it," and it's like, "Great, when is it? Let us know the date." And they're like, "We're not going to be able to do it." And it's like, "Brilliant!" So 16 man, cool. Let us know the dates, and then we come back and we'd sort it. And yeah, I mean, to be fair, the guys who are involved have been great. We have kind of thrown it on their lap this year and sort of said, can you sort this out for us? Try and get things sorted. So I have no doubts that there'll probably be someone somewhere that something happens and controversy, because War Machine loves its controversy.
Please, no drama, none. I don't want any more.
I just want to say, goodbye to the War Machine Drama Llama. You were brilliant. Change.org will be forever missed.
I'm just gonna interject here for a second. I know what you're referencing, and I know that a certain percentage of the audience will know what you're referencing. However, I did edit Benj out of the last episode for mentioning anything kind of too specific about this. So
okay.
if you're in the know, you'll know what he's talking about.
Wait, I got censored for what?
You got censored the last episode.
Censored for talking, as usual.
I bleeped out a good 10 seconds of you talking.
What was I talking about? Because I can't even remember.
I'll tell you later.
Okay.
But yes, if you don't know what we're talking about, be very grateful because, quite frankly, storms, teacups, etc.
Yeah. So but yeah, so it's hopefully this year will go great, and we've had a lot of buy-in from the various stores. So we just need to try and get through. We think everything's sorted. We've got Gentleman Jack.
I will say, if nothing else, it's actually a great resource for people to just see where there are steamroller events in their area.
Yeah, as you're coordinating this, has there been any new stores that have actually popped up in like the last year or so, or any new metas or places?
I mean, personally, I only know the Northwest. Because what we kind of did is let the people in their areas sort of, that's why we've got those sort of regional coordinators, because they know their areas, they know the people. But I know and part of the reason why we did this is because we saw how well it worked, was that we played at the Wargame store on the Wirral, and there was probably like 4 to 6 of us originally. And now, because we've got in contact with, there's the War Games, and then there's the Chorley guys, and then there's Elements. And because we've kind of connected, we're now running 16 to 20 man steamrollers sort of every month, every other month.
And what's the take up of like new players to like in your area at least?
Well, we've got, I think I'm trying to think, because it's one of those things you just think those people have been there forever, but I actually think there's probably about 6 to 8 of our people that have been there in the past year, and there's new people in the other stores, but we've just not seen them. So it has done a lot for reinvigorating people to play. It's also brought people that used to play back, because when they see that these events are actually running and that people are enjoying themselves, they kind of go, oh, well, I can go and join in that. There are people there.
Yeah.
When
lively scene always really helps a game, I find.
I agree, it does.
When I spoke to Enos about Nationals, he did say that the number of sort of newer players that were being registered was a lot higher. There's people that had not been seen before at local events, but I was just wondering if they were a national event even, and whether that was
definitely. And the good thing is as well is I kind of think, I mean, the game itself, obviously, you've got. I'm quite vocal, and I'll probably be bleeped out by Mike here anyway. But I personally think that the game's in a great place. The game is in a really wonderful place. There are the tops and the bottoms, but really most of it is pretty balanced. There are a couple of things that.
Why would I bleep you out for that?
Because of the next thing that's going to come in. So the game's in a good place, right? And I think that because I played it since Mark 1. And I've been through like most of it, and I've been to the international tournaments, I've done nationals every year since Mark 1 and stuff like that. So I've seen the game progress, and I think it's in its best place ever. What it does suffer from is old man yard syndrome, right? Which is people.
That's not how it used to be. What?
Yeah, right. So which is people who don't play, but won't. Can we swear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. They
We've
don't
got
play
on iTunes.
Yeah, they don't play. They don't have an interest in playing, but they won't fuck off. Basically, I have no problem with people play and want to be active and want to be involved and want to share their opinion. But there's so many people that we still have that have no interest in playing, and I'm pretty sure they still only stay in groups and make comments and stuff because that's their hobby now, is to make disparaging remarks.
I've seen that. I've seen that too, but I can also see from the other side that they cared so much about the game that they still want to be kind of relevant in the kind of discussion, because it's not what they enjoy anymore for X reason, for whatever it is. I'm not saying I'm not one of those people. I disagree with you, but not to the extent that some may think in the podcast, because I actually do like the game. I like the universe, and I'm not going to slag all that jazz off. Yeah. I have my own particular different gripes, and mainly that's about support from the mothership, as it were. Yeah. It seemed to have taken 2 steps forward a few years ago, and then 9 billion back.
Yeah.
So different issues there.
100%. But the reason why I absolutely agree with you, Benj, is that you're taking gripes on the way the company is sort of running now, but you've actually involved now. Like, what I mean is these are people that I've not seen in years, not seen at national events, and they don't do anything, but they're just there. And what we have to do, and this is kind of the thing we have to do.
Do you mean the gripes sort of online?
Online gripes, or basically online gripes. But what problem is that we've got new people, all these new people coming into the game.
Yeah.
And where do they get their resource from? Yeah. They go online and they'll be like, oh, well, I've got this Nemo list. Kai, how can I do it? And the first thing they see when they come onto the the group for their Nemo list is this big thread, Storm of the Teacup, blah blah blah. And it's that kind of or someone says, oh, blah 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 is broken, and it just seems that like we've kind of developed this population that their hobby is to gripe, as opposed to they're griping because this is their hobby.
Yeah, I can see that.
I will say that is why the podcast, and laugh if you like, this podcast does try to remain at least fairly positive.
I'd agree.
About the game. Yeah. Because it's one of the long-standing things I've had with any hobby game, and it applies equally to War Machine. If you're not enjoying it, why the fuck are you here?
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing, that for me,
habit.
I'm totally down. And as I said, Benj, I'm 100% behind you, because people are passionate about something and therefore they want to see it do well. Like, I would so be annoyed if, and I'm getting a bit annoyed about, as you say, is it like some of the 12 Christmas models still aren't out?
Yeah.
100%. What the fuck? That's what I mean. It's kind of like, sorry, you've said I can swear now, so it's all coming out. Merseyside man here.
It's like you've always, Chris. It's like you've always been here.
I'd say external factors and pricing, external factors that have affected pricing, such as Brexit and all that jazz, have also probably driven me out of the game at the moment for price, and because I am doing different stuff. The other thing as well with new people using the internet, that's great, and it can turn them off, but it doesn't also help to get their ideas going, that their list that they're going to take of all these favorite models. Because this is one thing about the game as well, which we've discussed about sort of the casual thing, that they're going to bring some models. If it doesn't work and doesn't synergize together, they're going to get shit on. Some models are going to be a lot more, and some factions are going to be a lot more. So those power levels, they have to be aware of that. And I guess that's when old people come in as well and say, oh, this faction's broken and shit.
I actually think, and that one of the most hated and reviled things, which is now slowly, funnily enough, if you listen to people who hated them, theme lists. Everyone hates theme lists.
I love theme lists. I've always loved theme lists.
Theme lists are the best new person tool in the world, because when they come in, you say, what do you like? And they go, I like Cadre. You go, okay, what do you like in Cadre? You go, those guys with the shields and the pikes are fucking awesome. And you go, you know what? This is your theme list. This is what you can take. Buy this list. Done. All right. What do you want to do now?
Hang on. Don't you say, don't play that. They're all red and horrible, and don't do that.
Well, I say do that because then I can smash it and it's all okay. Fun.
Right. Well, I will say that the theme lists at the start of Mark III were perhaps not in the greatest of places when they got like 3 or 4 out. They were causing problems. Yeah. But as they've gone through and gone, okay, there is a problem with these. We need to address this. And they've come out with that large document of theme forces, like, was it 6 months ago, 7 months ago now? They came up with that large document that said, okay, everyone is getting at least a couple of theme forces. They're all going to be, a good boon to how much power you have, and they're all going to be different. At that point, theme forces became a very healthy part of the game, because you can walk into any faction, and as you said, you can give them to your newcomer and go, okay, this is a guide to building, an army that will at least function together.
And this style, a guide to kind of building this style of army in this army as well, isn't it? It's a subset as well, which is quite nice.
Yeah, and just to bring it out, because I've no idea. I always love going off on tangents, which is what I do. I'd be at home. Here, it's just to bring it back round. Is that for those new people, is that what we don't want them to do is they'll get in, they just pull together the models that they kind of like the look of, and then they get smashed by their mates, or they go to this tournament and they have no idea what they're doing because everything doesn't work together. So hopefully that meant that, and especially we've seen this with some of the new guys, because they've got something, they know what's in it, they know what to learn, they're actually accelerating their growth, because some of these guys have only been in our club for like a year, and you genuinely have to consider them for the steamrollers. You have to think, what are they bringing? Because if I don't, keep my head an eye on them, they are going to smash me, because instead of what happened when us lot started playing back in Mark 1 and Mark 2 and stuff, where you kind of go, what's in Cadre? Hundreds of models, what could be there? Hundreds of stuff, what am I playing? Different list every day, and you constantly learning different things, and you never settle on anything, whereas they go, what's in my list? This, okay, I'll play this, I learn this, and then I'll just swap out this unit, okay, cool. And so they come to the point of being really good really quickly.
Oh, because they're limited, because they're buying stuff gradually, they're starting from scratch.
Yeah, they get their list, they learn their list.
I mean, and that's good, because in this climate of finance, as we already discussed, they can't afford to fritter their money away on suboptimal shit at the beginning.
I mean, the other side to it is when you say there's like suboptimal shit, like that, some of that suboptimal shit might actually be good in a different theme force. It's just they won't buy it until they want to buy that theme force. So they'll be, instead of doing what they used to do, which was you go, okay, so I've got a pretty good army, but I really like the look of, I don't know, assault commandos or something like that, or I don't know, Cossack woodsmen or something crazy. You'll go, oh, I just won't randomly buy them and stick them in my list because I bought them. You'll wait until you actually get the list for it, and then you'll actually.
There was a point where when I was starting playing in early Mark II, where Cadre players would have looked at the collection of models I had and just screamed in despair because it was like, okay, what are you cast as? Well, I've got P. Sorsha and Karchev. And it went downhill from there. It's like, yes, I've got minimum Winter Guard and a mortar and like
exactly. Whereas now we're fast tracking them to good lists. There's still enough variance in theme lists. I mean, I love as well because I remember when Madrak came out. And everyone was like, oh, Madrak's making trolls boring. All we're going to see is champions. That's it. Madrak and champions. Like, I've yet to see a Madrak player that plays the same list as another Madrak player because some of them are convinced that Femblades are the way to go. Some of them are convinced it's Tuffalos. Some of them with Mountain Kings or Glacier Kings or Maulers. It's like, it's the same theme list. Yes, they've got their core of champions, but they are actually different. And therefore, you have to, they work differently as well. You have to learn different ways of tackling them. So
you took out Maddie 3 by any chance then, aren't you, with the shields and everything else in the armor?
No, one.
Oh, one.
We made one.
Oh, we made one, yeah.
Yeah. So because I was like, I played against our local player and I was like, brilliant, I know how to beat this. And then we went to Blood and Oil and played against one of our Northwest lads, Tom Wiggins, and he had a Glacier King in his, and he was like, oh, I can just like trample this forward and then use Jackhammer to kill you. I was like, no, I didn't. And that's pretty good with the Glacier King, isn't it? Because he's faster. That's really bad. No,
Jackhammer is a wonderful spell for making people just... It breaks people's minds. Because I've had things like, okay, I'm in a bit of an awkward spot this turn, so what I'm going to do, I'll put some focus on this Jack, have some focus on McBain. So McBain's going to start his turn by jackhammering this thing you've put in to jam him, charge that thing over there, he's going to hit that with his initial, then that Jack's going to run, and it's like, oh God, what's going on? It just drives people up the wall, because you can attack from weird angles and
exactly, and that's what I mean. Like, the main complaint you get from people with theme lists, and they go, "Oh, all the lists are all the same. Don't know why you bother. Everyone plays the same thing." It's like you play the same theme list, but at that point, I mean, I think the closest we probably had to that has been Ghost Fleet. I think Ghost Fleet was the first one.
Yeah.
I think maybe Fianna was a little. Most of them were the same.
The Flying Circus.
The Flying Circus. But even then, you saw some of them were like, no, you have 3 angels or 2 angels or 1 angels and more Neraths and all this kind of stuff, So that's what I mean. Like, everyone's like, theme lists, ruin list diversity. It's like,
I think they were just... I think they were hung over from Mark II, where there were some that were more equal than others.
Well, they were very specific. They were very specific in Mark II, weren't they?
Near the end. Theme 2 for Theme Forces near the end. You were just like, okay, so here's the optimal build. Now I've got 5 points to spend at the end.
Yeah.
There was also a miscommunication as well, because I remember at SmogCon, actually I think it was the last one, where they were talking in the development rooms, and they said that they made a mistake with theme lists, and they didn't think that they would be making a resurgence. A lot of people in that room were quite the kind of audience that were happy about that kind of thing. So I don't know whether there was some miscommunication there. And then there was the whole U-turn that was the best way to play the game, and some people were quite confused by that. And they felt that they were being robbed of list building options by... I can understand some of it, but then I can understand that there are different ways to build those lists, and they are very good for beginners.
I think saying being robbed of list building options, again, that was the problem with early Mark III, in that it came in with that, like, maybe 1 per army. It's like, this is the way to play. And then all of a sudden, once you get 2, 3, 4 theme forces, it's like, okay, now I've got a choice. I mean, the biggest change for me playing Mercs, they put irregulars on the table. That was incredible, because I've got 2 lists in irregulars. I think they share about 4 models and 1 unit between them. Oh, sorry, and 1 Jack. There's a Mangler in both lists.
Exactly, and that's what I mean. I think the fantastic. The only thing which I believe that they are probably looking at the moment is character Jacks. And I think I do actually love now that character Jacks have kind of become like the old witch one, where Scrap Jack was her Jack and that was her thing, and they balanced her around it. So now characters have their Jack. Other people can take it in specific themes, but now what's his name? So you had I I can never remember the Menoth Jack's names. So it was the Menoth Jack that came out and gave everything blessed. And everyone, literally, the internet lost their minds, as they normally do, but they lost their minds. Oh, how can everything be blessed and everything? And then, but everyone's at the same time as his owner is Malachus, the battle box guy.
Yeah, well, this was the huge thing at the end of Mark II. You'd see, admittedly, we were in a very different place with Jax back then because of how Jax worked. But you would see almost exclusively character Jax and about 50% character beasts on the table. Yeah. And, you wouldn't see a Juggernaut. You wouldn't see a Crusader. These things just wouldn't have to hit the table at all. Whereas now, you look at people and just go, well, I could take the character, but that would mean playing out a theme and losing 30 points. Yeah, I'll take the basic Jack instead. Yeah. Oh, actually, maybe I'll have 2 of them.
Yeah, you could only afford 1 Jack in a list that was, or 2 at a push that was a premium, basically. They did X thing in the list, and that was it. So it's completely different now, the whole pricing structure of Jacks and the viability of Power Up.
Again, going back to my McBain list, that used to play with 1 Warjack. Now it plays with 4.
Yeah, but I mean that's what I was saying. So now it's the other way now, where what they've done now is they've said, right, we can make these characters as batshit insane as we want because we know that they are limited to the casters that are available, and we can balance it around that. And then what I think they're going to do is what they've kind of started doing is, have you noticed they've started erratering certain theme lists and going, oh, you can now have this character with any caster in there. I think it was one of the Legion ones could just take Zuriel or something like that. They added Zuriel and someone else into it just to take it. But what it meant was they actually had some time to kind of go, hang on, in this theme list with the playtesting of everyone playing it, is it all right for us to add Zuriel to just everyone? Yeah, it is. Cool, we'll do it. Brilliant. Adding Behemoth, that kind of thing. Instead of, as you say, what it became was no one takes any normal Jacks because all the character Jacks have the cool rules. And then
+1 Matt.
Yeah. But bringing it back in, because I don't. So what that's meant, just going back to the Steamrollers, what that's meant is the other side to it.
20 minutes ago, I'll go.
I know. I've been paid to promote. I'm not really being paid as anything to promote it. That is the other thing, by the way. If anyone wants to yell at me or Rich for anything going wrong with the Steamroller, we are doing this out of our own thing. We're not taking anybody for it, so please be nice to us.
I was saying, do you want to give people your Twitter name so they can shout at you, even close to your face?
Well, I mean, the Twitter is WMHUKISS. We've tried to make it as simple as possible. So literally everything, Facebook, website, Twitter, it's all the same thing. So if you want to get on there and yell at us as well, feel free. I'll just it's me, by the way, who does the Twitter, so you'll just be yelling at me anyway. But yeah, so this was the other thing, right? So just going back to the original origins of it as well, was I always have a story, and I've mentioned this story on the actual podcast itself. I play, Michael Dick, very good player, Michael Dick. Currently playing minions, smashing people. He's a bit of a chump, you see, because I have a 100% record against him. Right? He has never ever beat me. Right? Okay, and the importance of this story is, and I like to bring it up, I'm certain he's going to hunt me down and kill me. But the importance of this story is, when Mike started, he started the Nationals, and as I mentioned, I played Nationals way back when in Mark 1. He played against me. I had no idea who he was. I had no idea what I was doing anyway, but I beat him, all right? I don't even remember the game, but he remembers it. And he told me it later on. And but the thing is, whereas I stayed a chump, I'm like a mid-table chump, he actually got better. And so what happens is he plays his tournaments and he plays well, and then he shoots past me, and then we never play. And so in the, 7 years since or something like that, we've never actually played again. So I have a 1-0 record against Mike the Chump.
Was this relating to your hiding in the top tables comment? Is that what that's relating
Exactly. To? Yes, that's exactly it.
Hiding
and that's the
from
point.
You in the top tables.
He hides from me in the top tables. He needs to lose a game and get down to my level. That's all I'm saying. So what we wanted to do is we kind of found that one of the things that Rich mentioned is when he joined the WTC England team is he got to play against all these different people. He's regularly playing against people like Pat and stuff like that. And he said that his game got like infinitely better very quickly because of the people he's playing against. You always go against the people.
That's Sun Tzu, isn't it? For a start, you only get better by playing against better opponents. It's very old school.
Exactly, but the problem with that is, unless you just happen to be good already, or you're quite lucky in the first few rounds of the Nationals, or you're quite unlucky in the first few rounds of these big events, or you happen to be local to them anyway, you're not going to play these people.
Yeah.
You have to have won those like first 3 games to then start playing against the people that will win their first 3 games regularly. So the chance of you playing them is obviously rapidly decreased, and the bigger events means there's less people. You're more likely to play against me, who's just been on a lucky streak for the first 3 games and all this kind of stuff. So what we wanted to do is try and promote that kind of cross-referencing, get people to come from one area to another. And the idea there was these qualifying spots. So these qualifying spots, yes, we obviously want it to be regional and we want people to get into their own regions. But if someone originally, when we were feeding back, someone said, can people go to other regions? And we said, damn straight. And they went, well, what if Pat Dunford comes up north? I said, well, one, unlucky. You're only fighting over one of the qualifying spots now. But the best thing is that, the people that probably would never get a game into Pat, because at the time they don't get a chance to play against him. Now there's at least 16 of them. Pat's going to play 4 games. I'm just using Pat as an example. Anyone of a good standard level. So he's going to play against 4 people that day. So that means only actually, 10. You're 1 in 10 chance of not doing well. And if you do quite well in your area, there's actually a good chance you'll play against Pat, because as long as you keep winning, you'll probably meet up. And then that means that you're getting to play someone who plays on the international stage. Yes, he might bend you over and, make you talk through the anus. But,
is that
you're going to
during the game, or is that a different reference? Sorry,
it's whatever, I suppose. Whatever tickles your pickle.
Good.
But that's the idea. Is
he still playing Grimkin at the moment?
I believe so. Yes, I think he made some Europeans cry recently as well.
Wow.
So I think he's back from Europe. But Pat. What I mean is just in general. You're gonna get to play against people who are or even better. You get to play against people. They might not be Pat's level, but they don't play like Signar. We have very little in the way of Signar in our area, and the people that play in our area, they like Nemo, but they weren't really massive fans of like Haley 3. We saw it occasionally, but we didn't see it a lot. Whereas if someone who's like the Haley 3 person from Scotland drops down, he might smash everybody, but now you actually get to see these armies, and you get to see them. It might be Haley 3 with clouds, or it might be Haley 3 heavy metal, or it might be Haley 3 some gravediggers, but you're getting to get all these experience that you wouldn't normally get against you and your mates locally.
Exposure to these things is the greatest way to actually learn all the tricks they have. I mean,
yes.
being a Merc player, the amount of people who sit down opposite my McBain army and go, what does any of this do? I'm like, okay, right, I'll take you through first of all. And I do have to make the point of, okay, I'm going to cast Countermeasure on these Kyazi now. Do you know what Countermeasure does? Do you know how stealth works? Yeah, and
I'll buy you a beer afterwards. Don't worry.
Yeah, having played I've played to Scorn ranged armies almost exclusively with this McBain list, and I explain to them what Countermeasure does. I explain to them what the Kyazi do, and I run them up into the middle of all these Venators, and then they try and shoot, and I go, okay, if you want to just move stuff first, because you can't within 5 inches, and just it takes a while.
Exactly, but then one of them might pick up something, like their local Merc player might pick something up off you, and then they'll start playing it, and then, like we talked about the internet before, everyone's like, oh no, you don't want to play that, you want to play this list. And it's like, well, that list would be completely useless in my local Steamroller, because in my local Steamroller, the guy likes playing a certain thing, which never gets played nationally, but just happens to be really good against the thing that you think beats everyone.
The great story from the forums back in the day was... essentially, there'd been a meta going on. There was a guy there who was sort of a bit of a top dog, went to a tournament at another venue, and the guy who's playing against goes, okay, fair enough, so you've had your turn 1. I'm just going to run to engage this stuff. And the guy who's come for the other meta goes, oh, I didn't expect you to do that, because people don't really run in my meta. And it's like, Oh, okay. So what you don't realize is there's all these different play styles and little quirks of the way people are doing things that don't translate unless you play each other.
Yeah. I think there's always been the case, though, isn't it? I mean,
oh yeah,
I'm nowhere near the player. I mean, I was never top tier ever, but I could hold my own reasonably well at one point. But that came from playing lots of games all over the place, going halfway up the country, going up to like Chorley, playing in the Midlands quite a lot, playing. I mean, Mike and I think met in Oxford first time, wasn't it? I think I can't remember.
It was Ross and Y.
It was Ross, wasn't it? Yeah. So Ross and Y. There's another example. So from me, that's quite a long way up. And I used to do that a lot. I used to go somewhere. Certainly monthly, I'd go somewhere and play a game because that's how you get better. You meet different people, as you say, Chris. Get exposed to different people's methods, different people's ideas, and that is how you get better. It's the time and effort and energy and money to do it. That's the tricky bit these days.
When I was in the Midlands, and I know the Midlands guys actually travel further than this now, but when I was in the Midlands, the ranging area was from like Stockport in the north to like past Oxford in the south.
And then Cardiff the other way.
Pretty much. And now the Walsall guys, you can set up a steamroller pretty much anywhere south of Newcastle and they will turn up.
Yeah. And I mean, this is like you were saying with the money. Like the other thing is the people you will meet, like we know each other, and I know a lot of people who I just never would meet outside of War Machine, but I'll tend to only see them at like national events like Welsh and things like that. Because there's money involved, you've got to get hotels. You know, it's like the 6-7 game buffet. You've got to get hotels. You've got to pay for it. It's usually for that kind of thing, like maybe 30 quid more. Might be SmogCon, which is BoneCon or whatever it's called now. It might be more expensive. Whereas these steamrollers, normally, I've seen the average ticket price. Obviously, depends on the area. Is probably about £10.
Yeah.
You know, it's a one-day thing.
Less driving, no hotel. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you don't need a hotel. So literally, it's costing you £10, and you get to come see people. You might actually meet people, connect on things like Facebook, and then have someone just to chat to about the game, about what's going on. And then you've actually got someone who, instead of random Swedish bloke who thinks that Nemo 2 should be defeating Ghost Fleet, you've actually got Dave from that local mayor who smashed you and actually showed you how to play something and will help you develop as a player as well. So
yeah,
I will say if we're talking about the price of events, there is one I'm planning to go to in Cardiff, which is a mere £7.50.
Wow,
for a day's worth of gaming. There are currently 22 tickets left. That's on the 27th of January. So
I'd really like to go to that, but I have commitments that weekend. This is the other side to it. Is fixed commitments
by using the War Machine UK Super Series. You do it, Chris.
War Machine and Horde UK and Ireland Super Series.
There we go. Even you messed it up. You can actually go onto their events page and see that there are other events in Wales. Throughout sort of the first half of 2018.
Cool. I've got it up, but I'm not going to scroll down it. I'm busy gluing it together.
Apart from February, they've got one every single month.
Wow.
So, and as well as that, all of the dates aren't up there yet. Bristol Independent Gaming, they're holding 3 or 4.
Yeah, you need to, if you want to know when they are, if you see the regional coordinators, give them a kick and tell them to send us the details.
Yeah. I think the ones for big are still TBC because they're sorting out the dates for the venue itself.
Yeah. I mean that is the thing is that we don't obviously get in touch with me and Rich about anything you need, but we defer to them at the moment because as you said, we won't be talking to venues; they'll be doing the venues and things like that. So we just wait for them to give us the details and spread the love.
So there's something coming up for Cornwall as well, are there?
Yeah,
there is something called the Cornish Invasion, which has a foot. It's TBC, but it is called the Cornish Invasion. So I would imagine there is something there.
Okay, can't see it. I'll find it a bit. Yeah, cool.
You'll be able to find it somewhere.
Yeah, find it. Okay, it's running. Okay, it's running.
Or if not, then I'm sure Chris knows someone who you can talk to.
Ryan Evans is your man.
There we go.
Yeah, I know Ryan.
Yeah, just throw something at Ryan. Or give him popcorn.
Harsh.
No. Like we had him because he's the first qualifier. We had to get him pushed to talk because he wanted to eat popcorn while we were on the podcast. It was like, Ryan, I'm gonna need you to do push to talk.
Oh, because he was chomping away.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
we have
a
with
lot of
Alex.
that problem here. People sort of like filing away halfway through, or Alex dropping boxes of paints, or
turning into a transformer.
Yeah.
I'm being Alex for this episode. Generally, I'm the one that's chopping things, attacking plastic, and generally making more noise than anybody else.
Oh, but apparently, just looking at the YouTube live chat, because of course this podcast now has YouTube live chat. We have Byron Lyles on there, who's talking about how he's running. I'm going to believe that's the Cardiff one. So yeah, that's we have a direct line to that.
He's running it. Byron's running the Cardiff one.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, it's at Firestorm. It's going to have someone reputable running it. I mean, you know.
One would hope so.
It's going to be him or Terry.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Harsh.
So yeah, I mean, we're all kind of clubbed together. So hopefully, the idea is this year is a bit of hodgepodge, but hopefully, and this is something we've discussed with, being that Rich is a WTC committee member this year as well, is that possibly going forward, we can't see why people wouldn't want the person who manages to get all the way through to the finals to be someone that would represent the relevant country in the WTC. So we think that might be something to incentivize. Now, obviously, that's going to be for future years, but we think actually, if you ended up with the top Irishman, top Welshman, top Scotland, and top England, then if you've gone through your rigor of all these people, not only do you get to sort of say, I came first at the Super Series, but you get to go and smash Europeans and Americans for your country. So I mean, it's all there. They're all planned. There's all these things. I have to be tempered. So I probably said too much and promised things that might not ever come to fruition.
Excellent.
But,
you heard it here first. There's been things promised that yes.
that may not happen. Yeah, Rich does have to kind of bring me in sometimes. I'm like, but we could do this, and then we could do this, and he's like, no, we need to think it through and make it realistic. It's like, but everyone could wear llama hats, and then it would be amazing. But,
having done the event organization thing, having a realistic idea of what you can achieve is always a good place to start from.
Yes, indeed. So, but yeah. So that anyway, I think I've yammered on about it enough there. Any questions from guys, or are you scouting out one of the regionals you're going to head to?
I was just now. Yeah, exactly that. Yeah.
Gonna try and get you.
Yeah, I think I definitely get myself to Bristol because I did get up to at least one of those last year. So I think I'll get myself to Bristol. I might even go. I haven't played in the new Firestorm at all yet. I've been there, but I haven't actually played a game in there. So I should really sort that out.
See, what you could do, Kurt, is you could come to one of these events in the Southwest and compete with me for the wooden spoon.
Yay! Yeah,
because apparently now I can't play anything other than McBain.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with that.
You were doing better at this when we last were in the same room together. You were doing better. I'm still fairly rubbish.
Well, this is the thing. I changed my Steamroller list. I put Fiona in there. It's a brilliant. It's a fun list that I love.
Always liked her,
and I am absolutely terrible with it. I keep clocking out because it's just so many models. But I love the list.
All this is making Richard Dean rub his hands because he wants me to go and play War Machine anyway. So I'm sure he's listening, and he wants me to go and play and practice War Machine anyway. So
he has just asked me a question about. I'm presuming it's my jacks from my McBain list. No, it's not Talons. It's a Vanguard, a Mangler, a Nomad, and a Rover. So that's my super secret tech for my McBain list. And if you want to count Wrong Eye and Snapjaw as well.
Good.
Yeah, because sadly I've had to lose the Bakur from that list.
I did actually get my trolls out earlier because I couldn't find my tape measure. I realised it probably was in my troll case.
Well, I've been very sneaky. I was mentioning, I think before we started, that I've been playing Grimkin, but I've literally just about half an hour before we came on finished making the convergence list. So I've changed it on the tie break. it has been officially changed from Grimkin to Convergence, but I'm wondering if any of my opponents will notice if they've been that serious about it. They're checking what's going and seeing if they're going to suddenly panic and have to switch. So yeah, should be good fun.
Do people do that much research? Do they really do that much research?
I don't know. I think some people like. I mean, you've seen it recently, haven't you? Like everyone likes to see faction breakdowns and what's there and stuff like that. So,
after I would say definitely after tournaments, but beforehand, trying to see what the practice.
I know some of our locals have actually been looking at what's on there, but the main reason for that is that they know what everyone locally plays, but we've actually got a bunch of people that aren't local or that are kind of more regional.
Right, to get an idea of what they're going to face.
Exactly, yeah. So if you've not seen them before, you go, right, well, last time I saw you were playing Gators, and now it looks like you're playing Cricks or whatever it is. So, yeah.
So that one random tournament I turned up to with Signar.
Exactly. And now you've got qualifying spots, so people want to get that edge. You've got to get that edge.
Yeah, the only way I could get an edge on people is by literally flipping the table and destroying their army in the process. That's the only way I could do it.
I have experienced that. We've talked about it before. I actually explained that to my eldest fairly recently because I can't remember how the conversation came up, but I explained the entire alcohol-fueled late-night war machine.
You had to explain the literal concept of a table flip.
Yes. And I had experienced it, and that she was related to the person who did it.
Oh dear.
Yeah. It's good. It's good. It's good fun. That's what war machine's about. Hitting each other across the table when you're drunk and then table flip. Yeah. It's a long time ago. It was a long time ago.
So I'm just being quizzed by Richard Dean over Twitter here. He's asking about the range of Merc Jacks that actually appears, asking if I've ever seen the freebooter or the Talon on the table. To just go off on a complete tangent.
Yeah. We're done on the main topic now anyway, so like go crazy.
We rarely have a main topic, to be honest, Chris. It's good to have one.
Both Talon and freebooter spam have been seen. Freebooter spam happens with Shay because you get the real shenanigans of what is it? Feet. Is it Kudaban or something?
Kudaban.
Spell that adds speed.
Yes.
You've got jury rigged on the freebooter, and you can really get a lot of metal moving because those are fairly cheap jacks for what they are. Okay, they're made out of spit string and sellotape, but you can really get those things motoring down the table. I've definitely seen a freebooter spam list being played at Nationals, certainly last year. And that was even before the whole thing of irregulars, where you can now go, I'm having a list of jacks in Mercs, and now 3 points.
Yay!
There was a cheap freebooters list. I don't know if it was a theme list or how you built it years ago, wasn't there? You could make them very, very cheap. Wasn't you remember?
There was one when Mad Dogs came in. All the mercenary players got really excited and thought they could do the same thing with freebooters. I remember that. It was, it was there.
You can do some things with a freebooter. They're cheap, but they are Def 12, Armor 17. And a couple of solid hits, and they are down.
Oh, really?
And they're only, was it PNS 16 on the weapons or something? But
I know it's lower than that. I think it's just don't they get additional dice against knockdown targets?
But how many points are they?
See, now this is where you're going to force me to get out War Room and quite
no, don't do that.
See,
14, 13, 12.
It always makes for good radio, and I have to make sure I hit the right War Room because otherwise, War Room launches.
Can you simulate the pages turning?
Did you see that the old War Room actually got an update a while ago?
No, I didn't see that. I haven't got rid of it. I've still got it, but no.
Yeah, I've no idea why, but my devices were updating. It's 9 points of freebooter.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's power 14, but it has trash, which is the rule I was thinking about. Additional die on damage rolls against knockdown targets.
Yeah. So 9 points is fairly cheap for a heavy.
I think so.
Let's face it. Also chain attack, grab and smash.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. So if you can hit at Mat 6 twice.
One thing I actually thought it was really good for, which I never saw it for, and I don't know what the issue was, not being a Mercs player, was that it has Lash.
Yep.
Because the Buccaneer does, doesn't it? Yeah.
Does the Buccaneer have Lash?
Not Buccaneer. What's the shooty thing that's the same
Mariner.
chassis? Mariner, sorry.
Oh, does that have Lash as well?
Yeah, always did, I think. Yeah.
Ah, right. So, okay, that makes more sense. I was there going, I'm pretty sure you can get around the blast damage, because they'll shoot the Jack instead of you, but all you need is a couple of focus to stop the blast damage really hurting you. And then you're immune to so many silly things. And even if you, as long as there's one box on the Jack and it's knocked down, stationary, frozen, it doesn't matter. You're still fine.
The Mariner, one Jack being a Mariner actually stopped my caster being assassinated the other day because they slammed a Mariner back through my caster.
Which means he can't be knocked down.
At the point where you're slamming it through, it's got Lash, so neither of us is knocked down. It's just that moment of, that
works with, what's his name? Harkovich. He has it's not Lash, but any of his Jacks make him immune to knockdown, so therefore you can never knock him down with his own Jacks.
Class.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Love it.
But freebooter spam, while not seen all over the place because it does require an awful lot of metal freebooters, and I'm just going to point that one out.
Is it no resin? Did they never bring a plastic one out?
No.
Wow,
The Mariner is insane because you think, okay, I've got a Jack with a gun. You don't realize that entire cannon is pretty much a separate piece and just hangs off the end of the arm.
I've got one.
It's huge.
I'll go on.
It's ridiculous. At least
nice
with the
Jack.
freeboot, it's just got some clamps.
That's a nice Jack. I do like Mariner.
Yeah. Oh, changing it to only have to be 1 inch away.
Yeah.
From another model when it fires is a huge change. Because it means you don't have to do that dance of, okay, this model has to be here, but that has to be within 5 inches of that so I can walk forward. And now you can just go, yeah, I'll put that about there. It's fine. And it just makes it so much nicer to use. For a range 15, power 14 gun in Mercs, pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not bad. I mean, could be better. Could be range 15.
Yeah. And now Rich Dean's just gone off talking about marshalling Jacks in irregulars, and Jack marshals in Mark III
are a weird thing.
I'm going to appeal to PP at this point. Take the Jack Marshall section of the rulebook, rip it up, burn what's left, and then just make it so that Jack Marshalls give 1 focus.
No, right, okay. Right. I always thought Jack Marshalls, even in the fluff, they talk about how they can coax the Jacks to do more. Right. And it doesn't mean that it's their Jacks. It just says about how they get to know the Jacks and they can coax them. So I didn't understand why they've already got precedence in it in things like Arcanists. So maybe not arcane power or stuff like that. But all they need to do is have Jack Marshall be an ability, which is if they, in their command, use their action to do a Jack Marshall ability that is +1 movement, +1 power, or something, maybe not as powerful as the Jack Marshall ability is because you're going to have it on a Jack, which is in a battle group, but it's that kind of thing, which is just like a little extra. And then some Jack Marshalls have power up as their thing anyway, which they could do separately, but it's
special action, yeah.
Arcanist can give 1 focus, but he also can do +2 power. So that's kind of like the Jack Marshall, isn't it? So,
yeah, they just have to simplify it.
Yeah,
it's what they've. I can appreciate what they've tried to do. They've tried to make Jack Marshalls a little bit more flexible than they were, because the old thing was it's sort of a focus, but not quite. But what they've done is they've come up with a set of rules that basically very few people actually bother to learn, because Jack Marshalls just don't cut it.
I just want to say though, in the list of things
rules, They don't cut it.
Yeah, in the list of things to be ripped up and thrown away, the lance rule is front and center. Seriously, why? If they just made that, the lance rule is they have reach, they're set POW, and then the lance rule is like powerful attack. It's just +4 POW on the chart if this model charges. Done. Simple. There's none of these stupid interactions of, oh, I charged this model, but he died with my first attack, and now I need to reallocate my charge, but I'm not charging, so I don't have a melee range.
Well, or if you're going to have something like that, give them a 1-inch melee, and but give them the equivalent of lunge that Ashton's got. Like during their activation, they have a 2-inch melee.
There are literally a million ways of writing that rule, but if you want to play Desters, I've still yet to see someone who plays Desters correctly. Now, I don't know how you play Desters correctly, but anytime I've seen someone playing them, one part of the interaction has been wrong because there's so many rules that just don't work together. It's ridiculous. It's like, just get rid of the lance rule. Even the things called lances don't have the lance rule.
Oh, you can get rid of it. I'm not too bad with the lance rule because I played a game where I did everything wrong. And then I had
just one game.
Just one game where I did everything wrong possible. Then 70%, then 50%, then about
good, excellent,
about
improving
5%, and then I stopped playing. So I'll never get there.
At least with the lance rule, most cavalry during charges got to keep their 2-inch melee range, rather than steelheads that just went down to 1-inch anyway.
Wow, yeah.
Well, trolls and then they got it back again.
Yeah, and then steelheads also lost an attack.
True, but to be fair, I think they should get rid of the lance rule on everywhere, but on the nayslayers. Because for some reason, it's just hilarious on the nayslayers. I love the fact that they can make a melee attack with their mount. I just imagine this gremlin just like smacking someone on the head with a severed head of a horse. That's a beautiful.
Yeah, running into those things is like, oh, that's how much damage they do. Right, I'll just take that jack away now. Oh,
they're beautiful. They're beautiful. Although it does. Do you know much about the background about the Grimkin?
I know what was there in that presentation at SmogCon.
You know what gremlin swarms are and what gremlins are?
Yeah, roughly.
They're babies. They're deformed baby souls.
Wow.
They're babies that have died, and when their soul goes into hell, which is like basically Arcane, they've become these gremlins. And that's what they are, which is why they're all
slightly disturbing.
Yeah, and that's why in one of the models, Lady Cariana Rose, she's like all of her kids died, and so she sees gremlins as her kids, and that's why they're like all over her. And then when she dies, the whole of the Grimkin army goes mental because they're like, "You've killed our mum!" And just goes nuts.
Wow.
Yeah, but I just love the way everyone's like, "Oh, gremlin souls, they're so fun." It's like, yes, those baby souls.
Horrible little things.
No, gremlin swarms are not fun. I've not had to face them in Mark III yet. I've just seen what they've done to other players.
I have seen. I think in one game I played, there were two of them on the board, and I didn't know what they did. Luckily, I was being marginally careful and was able to shoot them.
Well, we had this debate in our chat, our local area chat, and one of the people was saying about how terrible it was. And my opinion was that, it's like anything. It's like, would you go to an event that you knew there was going to be Haley 3 with her clouds, and then at the end of it go, I didn't bring anything to deal with clouds. Haley's broken. Like, no, you plan for what's there, and you go for that. So it's the same with Gremlin Swarms. You know there's going to be something that's stealth and incorporeal. If you don't bring something magical.
Again, it's like going to a Mark III tournament and thinking, I won't have to take any Pathfinder. Don't want any terrain on the table.
Exactly.
No, that's not how it works. You have to have. Admittedly, one of my lists has more of an answer for incorporeal than the other, but there is an answer there in the two lists, and it's all about having those little bits of tech that go, yeah, I think I can deal with something here.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
Anyway, I think we've exhausted that line of conversation.
It feels that way.
Yeah. Should we move on to any other business? Kind of wrap this one up nice and early. Just make it a a Super Series special.
Yay! I feel special.
That implies that this is fitting in between 2 other episodes that we've done recently and will do soon. I like it.
Yeah. We'll do another one in February.
Fair, everyone does call me special, but I think it's for different reasons. So. Mainly my wife. Oh well.
Right, let's move on to any other business. So, Benj.
He's playing his game.
Yeah, I can still hear though. Do I have any other business?
Any other business?
Do I have any other business? Do I? No, I think I'm good with my business.
Fair enough.
I'm just playing games that aren't War Machine.
Sweet, let's move on. So, Chris, any other business? So, any other hobby or kind of modeling you've done recently, or
gaming updates?
Well, I've literally just put together about 70 convergence models of various jacks and mans, so that's already. And just before everyone thinks
you're prepping for all those mold lines now, right?
Yeah. And just before I'm accused of being a War Machine fanboy, I to my left have an Age of Sigmar army, which I'm going to be playing at the local workshop because I think it's not a tournament game, but it's a perfectly fun, reasonable game. And I also am excited to see the Custodians are coming out because those models are bloody beautiful. So I do play other games. I just prefer War Machine as my game of choice for events. So
I was going to say, none of us here will ever accuse anyone of either being a PP or GW fanboy. We've all dipped our toes in like various bits of hobby around the gaming sphere.
But one thing I will mention, and I did mention this to Kurt, to everyone, but I think I've hooked Kurt in from the computer game side of things. There is a game in alpha on Steam called They Are Billions. It's brilliant. It's like playing Command and Conquer when you're surrounded by zombies and they all want to come and murder you and you just have to survive. I will put one quota in there, though. If you don't play it on challenging on everything, then you're a massive Jesse. I'm trying to think of a PC word I can say. But
yeah, you're running out there.
Don't worry, if it's really bad, I can just bleep you.
Okay, well, you are a bleep. There you go. You can think of what it was.
Fair enough. Okay. So, Kurt, any other business?
I played my first game with my my new Deathwatch army this week for 40k.
Okay.
And I thoroughly enjoyed it and played against Tyranids, and they did what they should do. It looked like I was going to get swarmed and eaten, and then I lost about 6 models and all the Tyranids died. It was, it was very much, it was great to have fun. Yeah, this anti-Xenos army, and they threw tons and tons of Jesus, and they all died. I lost some stuff, but no, it was good fun. And I've just been sat here assembling a second 5-man squad of Primaris intercessors for that army as well. Just throw in, and don't know what else. I bought. Tell what I did buy that was really good. That I would. I bought the easy to assemble Dreadnought, the Redemptor Dreadnought. The bright blue plastic one. That thing is a joy. It's
massive as well.
It's massive. It's easy. It's nice. You can't. It's hard to imagine how 10 pieces of plastic or 11 pieces of plastic go together and look so close to 60 pieces of plastic or whatever the big one is, whatever the full size. And also, £45 down to £25. You don't have the weapon options. You only have one set of weapons with it. But to throw into a Deathwatch army, you want the big cannon and the flamer. You don't necessarily want plasma weapons like that on it. So I was kind of, very impressed by that. That's pretty much my own business. I've been playing about with 40k. But I am getting drawn back into War Machine with Chris's Super Series podcast, and actually chatting to Chris a little bit on Facebook as well, and just kind of I think I might actually work up to it gradually.
I've got to say, looking at, I take it was Primaris Redemptor Dreadnought.
Yes. Yeah, there's 2.
Looking at that, it's ever so slightly different from like the standard old Marine Dread that I remember.
It is.
And it's just kind of messing with my mind slightly, because it's like it looks like a Dreadnought, but not quite.
If you Google a size comparison of all the Dreadnoughts, if you do a size, there's some really good pictures on Google Images. When you Google all size comparison Dreadnoughts 40k, and you get things like the Leviathan, which was this massive £90 with all the weapons Forge World model that clearly was the inspiration for the Redemptor, really, when you look at it. And you've got the Redemptor, and you've got the old. You go back down to the old traditional one, which is still bigger than the really, really old ones. And the sizes are amazing. And you throw the Contemptor into it as well. It's such a variation of size at the same scale. It's a fantastic model. Good fun. On the board, it's great fun. So good.
I was saying that original 40k Dreadnought was something to behold.
Still got one in the loft. The really, really old one.
Weird. Oh, that's all I'll say.
Yes, so I've been having fun with Games Workshop bit. And I've been a bit of a Warhammer Christmas, which was great fun as well, with all the kids getting really into it and getting bits and pieces. So yeah, lots of any other business.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Oh, actually, one other thing.
Go on.
I got bought Magnus the Red for Christmas.
Okay.
Nice.
Massive Great Demon Prince for Christmas. So he's assembled, needs some green stuff before I paint him, but he's sat there as well. So
like your 11th birthday all over again.
It really is.
Fair enough.
How about you, Mike?
Well, myself, not done much with models. I've I glued together a galleon. That's largely because it fell off the shelf.
Hadn't you already done that? Yeah.
Yeah. I've already glued two of them together. That's the third, or technically fourth, because they've now both broken. Still not put either of them on the table in Mark III, which saddens me. Yes. What else have I done? Went to a tournament in Bristol, which I lost 3 and won 1. But I did have, was having a bit of a headache halfway through the day, but it kind of cleared up, and last couple of games were pretty much okay. Bristol, great venue. Go there if you can.
I agree.
Other than that, I am about 3 or 4 weeks into a Star Wars RPG at the moment, which is taking up a decent chunk of time every week. And that's proved to be really good. We're playing through the Force and Destiny version at the moment. So everyone has a Force rating, which, of course, naturally only 2 of the 7-man party have picked Force powers. Yes, one's picked Move, and I've picked Influence. The only thing is, apparently, I can't roll dice. Because if you know the Star Wars RPG system, you have essentially positive dice that you roll and negative dice that the GM gives you to represent difficulty. Of the 6 die rolls that I had to do in the last session, 3 of them on the difficulty dice came up with despair. Literally the worst results you can get. So not only did I flub my stealth roll into this Jedi temple and have a bunch of guards drop on us, not only did I, in the middle of a fight, basically stab a rock and lose my knife for the rest of the fight, but I also, when trying to shoot the person standing next to the hostage, shot the hostage instead. So I was having an absolute whale of a time.
Hostage never been there. It's not your fault, mate.
Well, the hostage survived at least, so that's good. But next week we get to find out what it is we're doing for the rest of the campaign. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, how can I mitigate bad dice with any of these 20 XP?
I've got the intro box to Age of the Rebellion on my shelf, but we never got round to doing it, my group, unfortunately. But I think maybe this year.
Having done the Age of Rebellion starter box, it's I'd advise whoever does GM it, have a good read through it first, because unlike Edge of the Empire, it's very open. Edge of the Empire is very much a guided story in that you go from A to B to C to D. Age of Rebellion basically gives you a planet with about 6 or 7 locations in that you can hop between at will, with daft plans the party can use to completely derail what's in the book. So our first-time GM had to do an awful lot of making stuff up on the spot to just go, right, you're trying something that's really daft. I need to come up with a way that you can actually do this. Bear with me for a second. I mean, that did involve jamming a Bothan's face into Stormtrooper armor, but it's fine. They
Nice.
probably looked a bit like a Stormtrooper.
Many Boffins died.
Many
Well,
Boffins
that
died.
one did not. That one survived.
Jesus.
But
You broke the game then.
I thoroughly recommend the Star Wars RPG because it is a great starter RPG. It's very, as long as you can understand the symbols on the dice, it's very simple to run because all you're doing is, your yellow and green dice add positives, your purple and red dice add negatives, and you basically just cancel down and say, yep, I have 2 success and 1 advantage. And then the GM can translate that into, okay, you hit and good stuff happens as well. Or if you get enough advantage, you hit and also get a crit. And it's very easy for a GM with that kind of feedback to kind of add it into the narrative, make something cooler or better, or it's a lovely system. I will say the full rule book though, you could knock out a small child very easily with one of those.
It can't be worse than a Agricola rulebook. Even though that's quite thin, it's just full of shit.
I'll just turn around and...
I can't see it. My window crashed. Oh, wait, no. I can't see it. Yeah, I know. I've got one.
That's your Age of Rebellion book, right? That's...
I've got one of them kicking around. I don't think it's Age of Rebellion I've got for that, though.
I will say, again, all the main books do share a lot of content, and that's all the mechanical stuff. Where they do vary is the classes and races that are available. So they are all useful, but they are not readable as a book. I'm just going to say that now. Not readable as a book at all. They are pure reference guides. The ones in the starter box, very readable, just to get through.
Oh, apparently Star Wars did really badly in China. That's quite weird.
Yes, because Star Wars isn't really a thing over there as a franchise.
Well, I thought The Force Awakens did quite well.
It did okay. It didn't do brilliantly. The thing is, again, this is another tangent. Star Wars was never really exposed to China as like the original films, so they don't have what the rest of the world had in that progression from the original trilogy to the prequels to the sequels.
Well, they didn't get the Turkish movies though.
No one needs this. No one.
Even the clips are just enough to send you crazy.
But I would say
Turkish Star Wars, YouTube it, people.
No, I will not.
Even with The Last Jedi not doing terribly well in China, I think Disney are going to be okay.
I think they will.
I think they'll weather the storm.
I'm intrigued by the incorporation of Fox. That intrigues me.
Let's just look.
Hasn't happened yet.
No.
Last Jedi worldwide $1.2 billion.
Jesus.
I mean, that's not Force Awakens numbers, but it's the second highest grossing Star Wars film of all time.
I could buy a lot of bread with that.
What's second highest grossing?
Yeah. Second highest grossing Star Wars film of all time.
What is Last Jedi?
Last Jedi.
Wow.
Yeah. So
after
top...
Force Awakens.
Yeah. So Force Awakens takes that by a mile. That's like nearly $1 billion in the US. Last Jedi, $600 million in the US, and then you got Rogue One. Weirdly, fourth highest grossing, The Phantom Menace.
Yeah, we all got really excited about that.
So the thing
1999.
is,
I took a morning off work to go and watch that. Jesus.
I have watched the entire saga recently. I quite enjoyed The Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
I even sat there through the pod race and went, this is quite fun, really.
No, I like it now.
I moan about how long this is, but it's quite fun.
I like it now. When I was 26, I did not.
I did not like the pod race then or now, but I think
I love it.
There's enough time for Stockholm Syndrome to have kicked in by now, so we just accept the appallingly awful parts and forget that Jar Jar Binks is that bad, and then just go, wee!
Do you know what, Chris? I'll tell you what Phantom Menace is for, and you'll enjoy this. Phantom Menace is a way to watch more Star Wars with your children. You can, from about 4 years old, you can put Phantom Menace in front of them, and they love it.
I'm down with this.
It's really good.
My soon-to-be daughter will be a nerd, whether she likes it or not.
My youngest, who really wasn't that into Star Wars the last 12 months, she now loves Return of the Jedi for the obvious reasons, and she was the most excited in the house about Last Jedi, about Rey and sitting in the cinema and all this kind of stuff. And yeah, loved it. I do have one other any of the business that I forgot.
Oh, go on.
I had a Kickstarter finally arrive. Yeah, something like that.
Hang on. Was this the Kickstarter we discussed on the last episode?
Don't think so. Was it? What did we discuss?
Rail Raiders.
It is. Yeah, it actually arrived last week.
There we go.
I've had it a week, and have now played it, and it is really good. I'm not sure it's worth nearly a 2-year wait.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I ordered it April 2016.
Well, I was going to say it's time for the check. Every time you mention Kickstarter, where I have to go to Kickstarter and just check on one thing that's on there.
Legends. No.
Oh God, they've changed where things are. Help!
Is that Legends?
The layout of Kickstarter's changed, and frankly, it scares me. Right, so that's wow. It's not even on the first page anymore.
Was Legends the same time as Rail Raiders?
So, Super Dungeon Explorer Legends,
Yeah.
estimated delivery date,
Never.
December 2016.
Yes.
They are still sending updates. It's still a work in progress.
I get the updates because I threw $1 at that because I was thinking about jumping in later. So you put $1 on their things, means you can buy it off the store later and stuff, can't you? So I did that at the time.
Yeah.
So I get the updates, but I don't care. I'm just like, no.
It funded so long ago now.
Was it before Rail Raiders or just after? It was close to it, I think.
Before.
Was it before? Wow.
Wait. There is the Do you think that the reboot of Relic Knights will come out before? Which would be ironic. But
I'm sorry, there's a reboot going. I'll be honest, no one cares.
Second Ed. No, but
Yeah.
I just no. I wasn't in that. No. Conversely, Green Horde for Zombicide.
This is literally the same conversation we had. I've
Yeah.
listened to this
Is it
conversation
the same one? I beg your pardon.
3 months ago. I listened to this conversation the other day. This
Oh,
is
okay.
weird.
Oh, shut up then.
Yeah, just on the
There we go.
Kickstarter front, I am waiting for my remaining Kickstarter, which is Unstable Unicorns.
What's that?
The strategy card game of unicorns to find out how unstable your friendships really are.
Wow.
What?
That
Genius.
sounds cool.
It's got a not suitable for work edition, which I made sure I added on as well.
Oh, is that by the Exploding Kittens people?
Similar aesthetic. I'm not sure it's the same guy.
Because I knew they were doing something
really
new,
bad.
Right.
But yeah, it's art. It's like it's dead sort of simple. Well, it's not simple, but that kind of simple art. But he's got like characters where the chainsaw for a unicorn horn and stuff like that. So I'm excited for that. I'm hoping it arrives before Bones Gone.
Oh, you can take it leavings, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, anyway,
Okay.
so thank you very much, guys, for having me on.
Right, let's. I think it's about time to wrap this up then. So let's hand over to Kurt to sign us
Hello.
off.
You've been listening to Elite Cadre. What are we? Are we Hordes and War Machine today? Because there's been lots of Hordes podcast and other things.
Yeah, let's go for War Machine Hordes.
Yeah, War Machine and Hordes podcast that doesn't take itself too seriously. I've been Kurt.
I've been Mike.
I've been Benj.
And I've been Chris.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Nick.
Bye, Nick.
Bye, Nick.
There we go. That is as they say, a wrap.
Oh, thank you very much, guys.
You're most welcome. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah. We're always willing to take people on who are doing community-based stuff. So
Take them on. It sounds like we're hiring him. Let's hire him on the side.
Benjified.
All right, see you later.
No, I
I-
need my bit of bench.
I interjected with riveting conversation topical points. I did my job.
Benji,
You
you
did.
don't have a job. We're all here of our own free will. God save us. To talk bullshit about War Machine. So
Because everyone's talking bullshit about War Machine.
I think we have a lot of experience of doing that.
yeah.
Now-
wait.
Wait.
Let me go in the full episodes archive and just.
Wait, now that we're in
What
the...
episode number is this, by the way?
This is 88.
What did you beat me a saying.
Right, I'm gonna have to discuss that after we finish the recording because I'm
Can't
not
you just beat this bit?
No, because we're
Okay.
live.
I can't even remember
Because we're
this.
live.
right. In which case, I'm going to wrap up the recording here, but
Okay.
we'll keep on talking. So, thank you very much to people who are listening live. Thank you very much to people who are sending questions. If you want to send in more questions or come on the show if you've got something interesting to talk about, feel free to talk to us, and we'll give you the Google Hangouts link that Chris has had here. So we're going to stop broadcasting now. So thank you very much.